This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
And here we have a specimen from the early 2000s, a legacy investing platform. Please don't touch the exhibit, folks. It could crash.
Ready to step out of the financial history museum? At Public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind. Go to Public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at Public.com/disclosures.
You know, some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com, ODOO.com.
Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/iHeart. Greenlight.com/iHeart.
Yes, Tennafitzgerald setting sail noon to 3 on a day with no Mark Rosen. So the waters will be a little choppy today. I am Brandon Molesky, Tenna B, common man out. Just for one day, though. He'll be back. He's got some golf-related stuff. Charity, I believe, stuff going on today. Brett Blakemore, fellow hockey guy by my side for the next 3 hours. Hi, Brett.
What's up, Tenna?
We got a couple guests today. We have Dane Moore to talk some Timberwolves and NBA Finals. He'll join us at 1:30 today. And then from 2 to 3 in studio today, John Bonus, Twins Geek from Twins Daily and the Gleeman and the Geek podcast, talking Minnesota Twins for the final hour. I wanted to take the first couple segments here, Brett. I don't know if you read, it was about a week ago, I think, Aaron Gleeman of The Athletic did a story presenting the Twins all-quarter century team.
Okay.
So from year 2000, 2025, he did an all-quarter century team for the Minnesota Twins. And he had Joe Mauer as the catcher, Justin Morneau at first base, Brian Dozier at second, Corey Koski at third, Carlos Correa at short. In the outfield, Torrey Hunter, Byron Buxton, Michael Gadire, Nelson Cruz as your DH, Jorge Polanco utility, starting pitcher Johan Santana, Brad Radke, Irvin Santana, Jose Barrios, and Pablo Lopez, and the closer was Joe Nathan. So I thought, let's just steal his idea for a different team in town. So I'm not quite the Vikings expert that he is, the Twins expert, but I am now here prepared.
No.
With your assistance to unveil Tenna B's Minnesota Vikings all-quarter century team.
Oh my gosh, can you above average at that?
See if you can guess any of these.
Okay.
Quarterback. Who do you think is the
this is a toughie.
From years just 2000 to 2025 Minnesota Vikings quarterback all-quarter century team?
I mean, would it be Kirk? I'm trying to think of.
You like that? You like that?
Always. I'm trying to think of who. I mean, it's not going to be Keenum. We love the miracle. We love that.
Really memorable quarter century for you, huh?
Yeah. I mean, Teddy had his moment. I don't know. I guess I would go Kirk just for the long team.
Man.
Had the longest run of them, didn't he?
You're showing your age a little bit here. You're only picking guys like in the last decade. This is quarter century, last 25 years.
Yeah, it could be far.
Well, so
I didn't even think about that.
I'm going to go through some of the honorable mentions first, and then deliver.
Okay, thank you.
Who made the team? Dante Culpepper had a pretty good run there. In the 2000s.
He's pretty good.
We thought he was our franchise quarterback. He second in MVP voting behind Peyton Manning one year, and then the knee went to shreds, and he was never the same. You mentioned Kirk Cousins, 6 quality seasons out of Kirk. We love Teddy Bridgewater. As you mentioned, Case Keenum, Sam Darnold, each of them kind of pulled off miracle seasons. But there was one magical season.
Two receivers left and right. Favre out of the shotgun. Chester to his right. Third down, 12 seconds to go in the game. Niners lead by 4. Favre back to pass, pumps to the left. 8 seconds left. He gets away from the pressure, fires to the end zone. It's caught! It's Greg Lewis! Touchdown! Oh my heavens! Greg Lewis! Welcome to Minnesota! Oh my heavens! Greg Lewis's first catch has given the Minnesota Vikings an improbable victory. No flags on the field. Brett Favre, Greg Lewis. How do you like that?
Notice I didn't play the Saints NFC Championship game
I
highlight.
thought that's where you were going.
Did not do that one. Yeah, Favre here for 2 years.
Yeah.
Really only one season. So I guess if you are one of those that believes more in longevity, but to me that was just a magical season. They go 12-4 in 2009. He was a Pro Bowler. He was 4th in MVP voting. 4,202 yards, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. If you look at his stats online, statistically, you could argue that was the best season of his career. And he had, at one point, 3 consecutive MVP awards from 95, 96, and 97. Yet I thought, from a stat standpoint, obviously just the 7 interceptions, he was known to throw the ball away a couple times early in his career. Mm-hmm. But I'm going with Brett Favre.
And late.
Well, I'm going to go with Brett Favre as my quarterback. Running back, they've had some decent running backs, right? You had, after some early injury issues, you had some pretty good years out of Dalvin Cook. He had 4 consecutive 1,000-yard rushing seasons, including 16 touchdowns in 2020. He had 1 season of Robert Smith in 2000, so I guess technically he could have made the list. He had 1,500 yards rushing that year. You had Aaron Jones, solid last season. I thought Chester Taylor was kind of an underrated running back in Vikings history. He had a 1,200-yard rushing season in 2006, but unfortunately for him, after that great year, they drafted this guy.
They're off to the right. They'll run behind it. Adrian turns the corner at the 20, first down. Breaks a tackle at the 25. Breaks another at the 30. And he's loose. Adrian's inside the 30. 20, 10, touchdown!
Yep, Adrian Peterson, 7-time Pro Bowler, Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2007. 4-time first-team All-Pro, was also the MVP in 2012. So pretty obvious, Brett, that you're going to go with Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, that's a slam dunk.
And he might be, I wouldn't call him the best running back of all time because he had his deficiencies. He wasn't the greatest at catching the ball. He would also put the ball on the ground a decent amount. Didn't necessarily seem to know where to be in terms of blocking or what play to run. But when the ball is in his hands, and now, I wasn't watching football in the 60s and 70s, so it's hard for me to go back too far. But from what I've seen in my football watching, other than Barry Sanders, I think Adrian might be just the pure runner of the ball. And obviously you got, add a little bit more physical element than Barry Sanders did as well. Fullback, this is actually a tough one. The Vikings have had some quality fullbacks. Jim Kleinsasser was kind of like a hybrid fullback tight end. So I don't know if I can put him as just the fullback on this team. Tony Richardson and Jerome Felton, both were Pro Bowlers when they were blocking for Adrian Peterson. Both were also second-team All-Pros at fullback. Nafahu Tahi, not only a great name to say, but he was solid. I'm going to go C.J. Ham here, though. Maybe this is a little recency bias, but 2-time Pro Bowler. He's done it over 8 seasons. He just had more longevity than the rest of those guys. He's been very durable. Like, he's basically healthy all the time, every single season. And he also adds to special teams. So I'm going to go with C.J. Ham. Any disagreements there?
No.
Hard to break down fullbacks.
Yeah, it's there's not a lot of all 22 footage on fullbacks. But yeah, I like C.J. Ham. He's a good player. All
right, wide receiver position. Now, out of any position in Vikings history, this might be where we're the most loaded, right?
Absolutely.
Just compared to the rest of the NFL, I would have to imagine that we've had better wide receivers than any other roster, depending on how deep you want to go. And we've been good since 2000. We got 2 years of Hall of Famer Chris Carter during that quarter century time. He was a Pro Bowler in 2000. 9 years from Adam Thielen. 2 Pro Bowls out of him. Stephon Diggs was outstanding, though he got a little bit better after he left us. But he was pretty good. Maybe if he had some better quarterback play, those numbers would have been better. He had 1 phenomenal season out of Sidney Rice in 2009, 1,300 yards, 8 touchdowns. You had a Rookie of the Year and a Pro Bowl appearance out of Percy Harvin. A 1,000-yard season out of Nate Burleson. He had a nice little stretch there, but I think there's two pretty obvious guys here.
Moss! Randy Moss is in for a touchdown.
Al Harris playing off, bit up on the route, and Randy Moss, without even really being able to run, as he shoots the moon to the fans here in Green Bay.
That is a disgusting act by Randy Moss, and it's unfortunate that we had that on our air live. That is disgusting by Randy Moss.
Brett, I always forget. How old are you? You're like 30?
I'm 28.
28.
Yeah.
So do you even remember watching a whole lot of Randy Moss?
Not particularly. No, but I remember that moment pretty clearly.
You do remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we were not happy.
He was unbelievable.
It was a disgusting. I always loved that bit, though. Disgusting.
He's the most talented wide. I'm not going to say he's the best because you could argue Jerry Rice. He's the most talented wide receiver this game has ever seen. I mean, exploded onto the scene, rookie season, 17 touchdowns. He was the rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year, 1998. Three-time first team All-Pro, 5 Pro Bowls. And I'm just telling you that he changed the way the Green Bay Packers drafted. They're like, we have to draft big, tall cornerbacks, and they just kept drafting them over and over again because they could not stop Randy Moss. I know he played when he wanted to play. Had some off-the-field stuff where you never knew if he was focused and all in. But just from a pure entertainment standpoint, there was no one more fun to watch than Randy Moss. And then the second wide receiver, obviously.
Cousins, empty backfield, 3 receivers right, a couple to the left. The Bills safeties are 25 yards from the line of scrimmage. Kirk back to pass. He's going to heave one to JJ to the right. Jefferson leaps to catch it, and he caught it at the Bills 40. What a grab! Are you kidding me with that catch, JJ? First down, Vikings to the 41 of the Bills. So for Justin Jefferson, that's going to be a reception of 32 yards, and that's one of the most cold-blooded receptions you're ever going to see in your life.
Didn't think I would see a wide receiver better than Randy Moss. And I'm not saying Justin Jefferson is better than Randy Moss, but statistically through 5 seasons, he's on pace to be the greatest wide receiver of all time. 4 Pro Bowls in those first 5 seasons, and the one he didn't is because he was injured. Offensive Player of the Year in 2022 when he had 1,809 yards. He already has 495 catches, 7,432 yards, and 40 touchdowns in just his first 5 seasons. So, though this last year statistically was one of his worst years. So,
we stopped throwing him the ball.
Hopefully JJ, maybe he wasn't getting it open as much, or maybe he needs a little bit of help. So, maybe defenses are figuring him out.
Oh my God.
That's just the skill. We still have a lot more to go here. We still got offensive line. We still have defense, special teams. We're going to keep going. It's I'm unveiling my Minnesota Vikings all-quarter century team. We'll continue to do that next right here on the Tennafitzgerald.
You know what's great about your investment account with the big guys? It's actually a time machine. Log in and zoom. Welcome back to 1999. It's time for an upgrade. At Public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind at Public.com. Go to Public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at Public.com/disclosures.
In the heat of battle, your squad relies on you. Don't let them down. Unlock elite gaming tech at Lenovo.com. Dominate every match with next-level speed, seamless streaming, and performance that won't quit, so you can push your gameplay beyond performance with Intel Core Ultra processors. For the next era of gaming, upgrade to smooth, high-quality streaming with Intel Wi-Fi 6E and maximize game performance with enhanced overclocking. Win the tech search. Power up at Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. So you want to start a business. You might think you need a team of people and fancy tech skills, but you don't. You just need GoDaddy Aero. I'm Walton Goggins, and as an actor, I'm an expert in looking like I know what I'm doing, even when I don't. And I like the sound of starting my own business, Walton Goggins Goggle Glasses. But I'm an actor. I don't know what I'm doing. I needed help. GoDaddy Aero uses AI to create everything you need to grow a business. It'll make you a unique logo. It'll create a custom website. It'll write social posts for you and even set you up with a social media calendar. I didn't even realize I needed a social media calendar. GoDaddy Aero will take your idea that sounds good and make a business that looks like you know what you're doing. GoDaddy Aero can get your business up and running in minutes. You know what that sounds like? It sounds like a plan. Get started at GoDaddy.com/Aero. That's GoDaddy.com/AIRO.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/iHeart.
Get ready to laugh. Comedy legend Bill Engvall is at Treasure Island Resort and Casino Friday, September 5th. The blue-collar comedy tour icon may have retired, but he just couldn't stay away from the stage. Here's your sign to catch him live for another round of side-splitting humor. Get all the details, ticasino.com.
Tennafitzgerald, along with Brett Blakemore. This is our, or I should say mine. I shouldn't speak for Brett. My Vikings all-quarter century team. We move on to the tight end position. So far on the team, you got Brett Favre, Adrian Peterson, Randy Moss, and Justin Jefferson. He's JJ. Let's go to the tight end position. In the last 25 years, Jermaine Wiggins was all right. Visante Shenko gave us an 11-touchdown season in 2009. He is also, let's just say, exposed on national television. TJ Hawkinson, the current tight end, I think might be the most talented of the bunch. It probably is the best tight end, but has had some injury stuff, so really hasn't put complete seasons together in Minnesota. So let's go with this guy.
Cousins shotgun, Dalvin Cook to his left. 3rd and goal from the 4. Kirk takes the snap, looks right, fade left, end zone, and it is caught! Touchdown!
There's a touchdown.
Bonjour, San Francisco, and au revoir, New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, Kyle Rudolph with the, not often we get a playoff win around here. So a game-winning touchdown on that one in New Orleans. Rudolph, 10 seasons here. 2-time Pro Bowler. 48 touchdowns during that stretch. So never was really like a super dominant tight end or a takeover the game tight end, but was obviously great in the red zone. On the offensive line, this is a little tricky for some of these. Left tackle, I don't know if I love anyone at the left tackle spot in the last 25 years. Matt Khalil, remember him? He had that outstanding rookie season. He made the Pro Bowl as a rookie and then just absolutely dropped off the face of the planet off that point. Bryant McKinney played 9 years at left tackle here in Minnesota. I know Common used to call him the saloon door. He did end up coming around a little bit towards the end of his career, and he did make a Pro Bowl in 2009. We got 1 year out of Todd Susie and Riley Reef, but I guess I am going to go with the current left tackle, Christian Darrisaw, even though he's only played 4 seasons, and 2 of them have been marred by injury. So haven't had really completeness out of Christian yet, but I think he's going to be the best of the bunch out of anyone we've had in the last 25 years. Left guard is extremely easy because there's really no competition. You had Corbin Lucina, who was okay for a stretch. Something called Charlie Johnson, played 4 seasons here. He could be a little more flexible and play multiple positions. But we're going to go with Steve Hutchinson at left guard, 4-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first team All-Pro, I should say. So Steve, definitely the left guard here. At center, got to go with Matt Burke. Once again, not a lot of competition here other than John Sullivan had some quality seasons here. Other than that, I know I hate to say it, Vikings fan, Garrett Bradbury might be your like your 3rd best center in the last 25 years. But Burke played 10 years here, 6 Pro Bowls in those 10 years. And he was 2nd team All-Pro in 2003. Not a bad career for a 6th-round draft pick. And we've been spending so much draft equity on a lot of these offensive linemen over the last 5-6 years. It'd be nice to just hit on like a 6th-rounder every once in a while. And one that could potentially go, borderline Hall of Famer. Right guard, pretty ugly. As we know in recent years. Really, my backup options were Anthony Herrera, Brandon Fusco, and Mike Remmers. But we'll go with David Dixon. He was here for 11 seasons, but 5 of them came after 2000. So we got him from 2000, 2005. And then at right tackle, you had 1 year of Corey Stringer before his death in 2001. You had Phil Lodeholt, who was absolutely huge for 6 seasons. But Brian O'Neill, your current right tackle, is going to make your all-quarter century team. 2-time Pro Bowler, and really has been a pretty steady presence on a very erratic offensive lineman here over the last 7 years. Defensive side of the ball, we've had some changes now in the last couple of years where we don't really have defensive ends anymore. We just have edge rushers. So I just went with pass rushers, 2 pass rushers. And you had some options here for the Purple over the last 25 years. Everson Griffin, 4-time Pro Bowler, 79 half sacks in 11 seasons. Ray Edwards, not a great boxer, but he was an okay kind of second-tier defensive lineman. Brian Robinson had 60 sacks over 11 seasons. This last year, Jonathan Grenard and Andrew Van Ginkel, pretty good years in their first year. But I'm going to go with Jared Allen, obviously 4-time Pro Bowler. 3 times he was an first-team All-Pro. He almost broke the sack record in 2011 when he had 22 sacks. He's going to be elected to the Hall of Fame this year. So he's an obvious one. And then I go Daniil Hunter, 4-time Pro Bowler, 87.5 sacks, 11 forced fumbles in 8 seasons. On the interior of the defensive line, you remember Linval Hungry. He was a good run stuffer. Chris Hovan had a solid 5 years, including a second-team All-Pro in 2002. Other than that, not much on the interior defensive line, and we've seen that in recent years. But we're going to go with the Williams Wall, both Kevin and Pat. Pat was a 3-time Pro Bowler. Kevin, 6-time Pro Bowler, 5-time first-team All-Pro. He had 8 forced fumbles, 13 fumble recoveries, and 2 interceptions for touchdowns. At linebacker, sorry, Ben Lieber, you didn't make the team. Honorable mention for Ben Lieber. He had some quality years here. E.J. Henderson had some moments. He was a Pro Bowler in 2010. I liked Blake Cashman last year. I thought he was pretty good. But our 3 linebackers are going to be Chad Greenway, Anthony Barr, Eric Kendricks. Greenway, 2-time Pro Bowler. Obviously, a bunch of tackles. 1,103 tackles in 10 years. Anthony Barr, 4-time Pro Bowler. Could also rush the passer a little bit, 17.5 sacks. And then Eric Kendricks, even though he had a weird ending there with Mike Zimmer, he's our first-team All-Pro. In the secondary, at corner, one of my favorite Vikings of all time is Antoine Winfield. Absolutely loved him. Not only a good cover corner, 18 interceptions in 9 seasons, but he is, I wouldn't even just say one of the best defensive back tacklers. He might just be one of the best pure tacklers the Vikings have ever seen. And he was the smallest guy on the field, but the most mentally tough, the most savvy in terms of reading the play where it was going to go. And like I said, he could tackle as good as anybody. And even though this guy had a little bit of a roller coaster time here and people seem to always hate on him for some reason, I'm going with Rhodes closed for other cornerback spot. Xavier Rhodes, 3-time Pro Bowler, first-team All-Pro in 2017. He had a couple-year stretch there where you could argue he was the best corner in football, like just lockdown cornerback. Safety position, clearly we're going with Harrison Smith, 6-time Pro Bowler, 37 career interceptions, 20.5 sacks. So he could rush the passer, he could tackle, he would force fumbles, he would recover fumbles, he would get interceptions, and he is still going strong even at his, 34, 35 years old now. The other safety was a little dicey because we do have some quality options like Corey Chavis, Orlando Thomas, Cam Bynum, Robert Griffith. If we're just going to take away what kind of human being they are, so just forget the off-field stuff.
Favre is the starting quarterback, so yes.
Yeah, just strictly gone with football and performance in a Vikings uniform. I am going to go with Darren Sharper. He had 9 interceptions in 2005, 2 of them returned for a touchdown. Awful human being, but he was a good safety for your Minnesota Vikings. And then what everyone's waiting for, the specialists, special teams, kickers. You could go Gary Anderson. I thought Kai Forbath was very underrated here. He made a huge kick in the Minneapolis Miracle game. He had a massive kick that if he doesn't make that kick, they would never even had the chance to come back in that game. Blair Walsh actually was pretty good in the regular season here. He just had the postseason meltdown. But we'll go with Ryan Longwell, former Green Bay Packer, because he made 86% of his field goals from 2006, 2011. Punter, Chris Kluwe. Long snapper, I'm not going to act like I can break down long snappers. We'll go with Andrew DePaula just because he's a 3-time Pro Bowler. He's been in the Pro Bowl the last 3 years and first-team All-Pro. I don't know how they actually choose between which long snappers are good and bad because they all look the exact same to me. But DePaula gets it. I'm also disappointed that superstar Mike Morris's last year was 1999. If he just would have gotten one more year into 2000, I would have picked him. And then kick returner, punt returner, we're going to go with Cordero Patterson. Obviously, we had Percy Harvin. Marcus Sherrills was a solid, dependable punt returner, but Patterson, 5 kick return touchdowns in 4 seasons, 2-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, and a 1-time second-team All-Pro. So that is it for your Tenna Bees Vikings all-quarter century team. Thank you, Aaron Gleeman, for giving me the idea to kill 2 segments. On the other side of the break, we are going to do obligatory daily NFL headlines because we have a big-name Green Bay Packer. His tenure in Green Bay is over, and should the Vikings have interest in him? We'll talk about that next in obligatory.
And here we have a specimen from the early 2000s, a legacy investing platform. Please don't touch the exhibit, folks. It could crash.
Ready to step out of the financial history museum? At Public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind. Go to Public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at Public.com/disclosures.
Come on, why is this taking so long? This thing is ancient.
Still using yesterday's tech? Upgrade to the ThinkPad X1 Carbon. Ultra-light, ultra-powerful, and built for serious productivity with Intel Core Ultra processors, blazing speed, and AI-powered performance that keeps up with your business, not the other way around.
Whoa, this thing moves.
Stop hitting snooze on new tech. Win the tech search at Lenovo.com. Lenovo. Unlock AI experiences with the ThinkPad X1 Carbon, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, so you can work, create, and boost productivity all on one device.
So you want to start a business. You might think you need a team of people and fancy tech skills, but you don't. You just need GoDaddy Aero. I'm Walton Goggins, and as an actor, I'm an expert in looking like I know what I'm doing, even when I don't. And I like the sound of starting my own business, Walton Goggins Goggle Glasses. But I'm an actor. I don't know what I'm doing. I needed help. GoDaddy Aero uses AI to create everything you need to grow a business. It'll make you a unique logo. It'll create a custom website. It'll write social posts for you and even set you up with a social media calendar. I didn't even realize I needed a social media calendar. GoDaddy Aero will take your idea that sounds good and make a business that looks like you know what you're doing. GoDaddy Aero can get your business up and running in minutes. You know what that sounds like? It sounds like a plan. Get started at GoDaddy.com/Aero. That's GoDaddy.com/AIRO.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
The Lynx look to continue their run to repeat as Commissioner Cup champions this Wednesday at 9 p.m. as they take on the Seattle Storm. Listen right here on The Fan and hear every game this season on the Timberwolves/Lynx channel on the free iHeartRadio app, thanks to RBC Wealth Management.
He's Brett Blakemore. I am Tenna B. This is the Tennafitzgerald. Dane Moore will chat little Timberwolves basketball and NBA Finals about an hour from now. John Bonus at 2 o'clock in studio for the entire final hour to talk about your Minnesota Twins. But Brett, even in early to mid-June, we always have to talk football because there's always something to talk about. We are obliged.
He's into the end zone for the touchdown. Time now for obligatory daily NFL headlines.
And it's a good day to have you here with me because there's a lot of Packers, former Packers, Aaron Rodgers related stuff in our obligatory daily NFL headlines today. So we'll begin with probably the biggest football news of the day. The Packers have released cornerback Jair Alexander after 7 seasons, ending an offseason saga in which the two sides tried to find a middle ground. I love this quote from Packers president Mark Murphy about the release of Alexander. He says, quote, "First of all, he's been a great player for us, obviously an elite talent, and, unfortunately just injured a lot. Unfortunately, that's a big part of our game. The reality is for the last 4 years for Jair, it's about half of the games he's been able to play. So we kind of been used to it." Alexander had planned to report for the Packers mandatory minicamp, which starts tomorrow. after skipping all of the in-person voluntary workouts this season. You're a Packer fan. Your thoughts on letting Jair Alexander go?
Yeah, well, it sucks. Reports of his demise happen, it seems like, every year for like the past 3 years, where, oh, here we go. It's finally over. I remember the coin toss incident, and so many people was like, that's the last time we'll ever see him in a Packer uniform. No question about it. And there he was the next year.
What was the coin toss incident? Remind me.
It was in Carolina, and Jair went out to do the coin toss as a captain, even though he was not a captain.
That's right.
Because it was his hometown, and he had to be a captain. So he went out there anyways. And then...
maybe talk to the coach ahead of time about that. Yeah.
On top of that, he almost screwed it up because he said they wanted to kick, and the refs were like, do you mean defer? And they're trying to save him from
they're trying to correct
having
him.
the Panthers get the ball twice in the game, which they did eventually. But yeah, he didn't
Did he
even
get
know
punished
the
for
wording.
that?
He got suspended for a game.
Okay.
From the Packers itself. So yeah.
It seems like he's had some, and I'm not as close to the Green Bay Packers as you are, so just kind of from afar.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like he's had some like clownish stuff happening. Obviously, we know him here as the guy who he's not afraid to talk smack to Justin Jefferson, and they got quite the rivalry going between the two of them. And at times he's had success against JJ. I'm sure the Vikings and JJ will argue, well, he's getting bracketed help and they're double teaming him and all that stuff, and it's not a pure one-on-one matchup.
But that's what smart defenses do.
But I mean, they've seems like the Packers have slowed down JJ. Not that I've looked through every single game stats, but it seems like they've done pretty well against him.
Sometimes JJ rips them to shreds.
Yeah,
which
he
as
does
elite
every
wide
time.
receivers do. Yeah. So no, I liked Jair. I wanted him back, especially for my Madden team because he's great on that. But he is one of one, and he comes with a lot of baggage, to say it politely. And you got it's almost like if you were a fan of the Bruins back when Marchand was really a POS, and licking people. It's like, well, he's really good at it. And from our perspective, or anyone else's, like, that guy sucks. We hate him, but you love to have him on your team. Jair was kind of that for me.
So
I'm sad.
So should we love to have him on the Minnesota Vikings? That's my next question, because it's clear the Vikings are in need at the cornerback position, because other than Byron Murphy Jr., there's a lot of question marks back there in the secondary. And, they acquired Isaiah Rodgers in free agency, who barely played last season. Jeff Okudah, who was highly drafted, number 3 overall pick for the Detroit Lions, and was this like your team number 4 for him now, where he's just kind of gone all over the place and has not really found himself a starting role? I don't know what to expect from Mekhi Blackman, a player they drafted in the 3rd or 4th round a couple of years ago, because he's just had so much injury stuff. We barely seen him on the field. So it's clear the Vikings, out of anywhere on their roster, that's their biggest need, is the cornerback position. You've heard Jalen Ramsey rumors. Now that this is available, I think I would rather go the Jair Alexander route than Jalen Ramsey route. One, because Jair's 2 years younger than Jalen Ramsey. And for Ramsey, you need to acquire him by a trade. So you have to give up. And after the last couple of years with how many draft picks we've given up, I don't want to just keep going, here you go. Just going Oprah on it and just here's a draft pick and here's a draft pick. Would I like Jalen Ramsey? Sure. But now, so if you can get Jair now, and they have enough money for this year, so the money's not an issue, I would have a lot of interest in Jair Alexander, and I get all the off-field stuff you've talked about. I get that there's baggage.
A lot of fans in this town don't like him either.
But with great risk, well, you like him when he's on your team.
Correct.
Everyone in this town did not like Brett Favre. And the second he signed here, we love Brett Favre. And every other Packer that's made the trek out west, the Greg Jennings. I don't think we hated Greg Jennings here.
Man, Ryan Longwell was hated, let me tell you. I'm just kidding.
We mentioned Sharper earlier.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah, nobody here like Brett Favre.
Yeah.
And I get Jair Alexander, people maybe dislike more just because he's been the one who's gone after one of our favorite players here and just have that individual rivalry. And I get there's risk, but with risk, there's reward. And we have a window here of 3 years while JJ's still on that rookie contract where let's build around him and hope he's the guy, and you've got a shot to win a big game here for the next 3 years. Take the chance. That's what I say. You don't have to give up any assets for it. You're just paying them money.
Yeah, the obvious cheap shot is the Vikings haven't hit their quota of signed Packers that just left. But the reality is I would do it. And I think it would be worth it. I don't know if you'd do any more than like a 2-year at most, just to see if he can stay healthy, because that's been the problem the last handful, as you mentioned.
Well, he is up there a little bit in age. He's 28. Like, he's still in his prime, but you're 2-3 years away from dropping off there.
Yeah.
Typically.
I would hate it personally, but I would do it.
But if you're Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, you would do it.
100%, I'd look at it, yeah.
The other part about this, you talk about all the baggage. Do you not understand how great our culture is and our
collaboration
and our how connected we are?
Yeah, the character.
Like, you put him in front of KOC and B-Flow, and he's just going to turn into an angel. Let's be honest.
Obligatory daily NFL headlines.
Speaking of Jalen Ramsey, by the way, he will not attend Dolphins mandatory camp. He's still on the Miami Dolphins, but Ian Rappaport of NFL Media reporting that Ramsey will stay away from the end of the club's offseason program, which comes as no surprise given the state of things between the player and the franchise. I think it's just a matter of time before Jalen Ramsey is out of Miami. It's just a matter of where.
Obligatory daily NFL headlines.
Are you ready for my 4 Aaron Rodgers stories?
All right, let's knock them out.
Story number 1, we know the contractual details of his deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers, according to Adam Schefter. 1-year deal, maximum value of $19.5 million. The base amount is $13.65 million with $10 million guaranteed. I love that Mike Florio pointed out that only $10 million is guaranteed so that Rodgers can claim he'd play for $10 million. But he's not. He's playing for $13.65 million plus incentives. The full amount is guaranteed as a practical matter. So that is the contractual matter of Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh.
Obligatory daily NFL headlines.
But did Pittsburgh really want Aaron Rodgers? Apparently, Aaron Rodgers is not Pittsburgh's plan A. Via Ben Crawford of CBSSports.com, ESPN's Adam Schefter recently said the Steelers had 2 prior choices before settling on Rodgers. First, they targeted Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford during the week or so that his status in L.A. was unresolved. And then Pittsburgh tried to keep quarterback Justin Fields. After Fields opted to sign with the Jets, the Steelers turned their attention to Aaron Rodgers. So, I thought I remembered that reporting earlier, so I guess that's not new news. But, with Aaron, I don't know if he could ever be your option A, because you can't trust anything he's going to say or trust that he is going to follow through on anything. And you knew with him that decision was going to take months and months and months. It's not going to happen first day of free agency. So now there is some risk in letting that go further. But yeah, I would rather have Matthew Stafford than Aaron Rodgers at this stage of his career. Fields is interesting because I don't get the Fields one, because you had him on your roster last year. He got your team to a 4-1 start, and then you benched him for Aaron Rodgers, for Russell Wilson. Now, I don't think Fields was brilliant during that time, but you were winning with him. So if you liked him so, why would he come back to you after you just sat him for middle of the road Russell Wilson for the good chunk of the rest of the season?
Steelers are very comfortable in the middle of the road, going 9-8 and calling it a day.
This is interesting, though, that just New York and Pittsburgh just swapping quarterbacks, and then they're going to play each other in week 1. Oh, the Aaron Rodgers stuff isn't done, though.
Obligatory daily NFL headlines.
Your Green Bay Packers visit the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday Night Football in Week 8. Mm-hmm. And Green Bay quarterback Jordan Love already has his meeting with Pittsburgh quarterback Aaron Rodgers circled on his calendar. Quote, "It's going to be fun. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited for it. I can't wait to be on different sides, meeting up. And I know we'll talk pregame, things like that. And hopefully we can exchange jerseys after."
You hate that.
If I ever made the NHL or NFL, I would never just exchange jerseys. It's dumb. But anyway, I wish this game was in Green Bay, because I would love to see how Green Bay fans, because Rodgers hasn't played at Green Bay yet, right?
No, he hasn't played them at all.
Yeah, he hasn't played them at all, because this is the first time he's playing them, and obviously, unfortunately, it's going to be on the road. Because I would love to see how Packers fans react, because they booed Brett Favre he was a member of the Vikings at the time.
Yes.
But they booed him when he came back.
If the Jets played the Packers before he went to Minnesota, I really am curious. I bet he'd get a rousing reception. Favre, that is. I think that's what, and I think it would have been the same with Rodgers.
Just can't go to a rival who's trying to stick it back to the organization.
Well, and openly say, I only went to Minnesota because they play the Packers twice a year. I'm pretty sure that was a direct quote from Brett Favre. So yeah, don't exactly take kindly to that.
So how do you feel then about the way Aaron Rodgers exited? And if let's say this game was at Lambeau Field and you were there, how would you react to Aaron Rodgers?
I would still probably cheer him. I mean, and that's with all, political stuff and weird medical stuff, like just completely putting that to this one side. As far as like the guy still dedicated 2 decades of his life to try to make my little football team in Green Bay good. So you have to kind of respect that. I would still cheer him. And it was time too. Like that Lions game, I was there when it was his last game. He just kept force feeding Devontae. He was awful. It was terrible. It was well past time. So I think it ended as well as it could have, and he's off to do his own thing. He'll be in the Costa Rican forest for the next, 20 years of his life, or however long he wants. So, yeah, I'm fine with it. I'd cheer him probably.
I'm curious how Vikings fans would cheer this game on. Packers versus Steelers, because Vikings fans we dislike Packers, right?
Yeah.
It's our biggest rival. It's the team we despise the most. But I despise Aaron Rodgers, too. I despise the Packers more when Aaron Rodgers is on the team than when Jordan Love is quarterbacking, if that makes sense. I want Aaron Rodgers to fail wherever he goes. I don't know who I'd pick in that situation. Maybe I guess it depends on by the time, what week is this? Do you know?
It's week 8, I beleave.
Okay, by the time we get to week 8, maybe it depends on where the Packers are in the standings and where the Vikings are in the standings, right? If both teams are 6-1 and, the NFC North lead is on the line, then I guess we got to cheer for the Pittsburgh Steelers. If the Packers are like 2-5 and the Vikings are 6-1, I think I might just cheer for the Packers in that situation.
Wow.
Against Aaron Rodgers.
Oh my gosh. Well, Jordan Love right now is a pretty likable guy.
He's more likable than Aaron.
Yeah, 100%. I think he's really likable, but I don't want to be a preposterous statement.
He's more likable just because he's not as good. So it's a little bit easier for Vikings fans to like. We had 3 decades of Hall of Fame quarterbacks to have to go against. And while Jordan Love's a quality quarterback, he's yet to show me he's Hall of Fame level quarterback, so I like him more because of that.
I don't know if you're going to see Hall of Fame, but he's going to be better this year, hopefully. I'll be very sad.
Obligatory daily NFL headlines.
We're not done with Aaron Rodgers.
No.
Last one. This is the Vikings tie-in. ESPN NFL insider Jeremy Fowler has now offered more details about why the Vikings chose to pass on Rodgers. Said, quote, Rodgers definitely had interest in playing for the Vikings. He was looking at playing for one of those elite-type play callers like Kevin O'Connell. How'd he end up in Pittsburgh then, by the way? But the Vikings' plan is clear for what I'm told. They saw this as a 3-year window right now to win a championship with a really good quarterback they like on a rookie deal that can build around them with some pieces. They're going to go for it without Rodgers officially now. And I think that makes sense. If you think, right? I mean, you've got, as you just mentioned there, 3 years here where J.J. McCarthy is going to be on a rookie deal. And even the 4th year would be the 5th-year option, but it still wouldn't be as much as a lot of the other, these $50, $60 million quarterbacks and we're now seeing in the National Football League. So it'd still be relatively affordable if he's good enough to get that 5th option. This is how you do it in today's National Football League. If you don't have a Pat Mahomes and you don't have a Josh Allen, unless I have one of those types of guys, I don't want to be committing too much money to the quarterback position that is taking away. I just don't think the Kirk Cousins, that level of quarterback that needs help around them, can't elevate the play of the receivers or the offensive line. If you don't have one of those quarterbacks and they're very hard to find, then you need to have one on the rookie deal. Hopefully you hit the lottery and you get both of that, where J.J. McCarthy turns into one of those quarterbacks on the rookie deal, and you get yourself a shot. So that makes a lot of sense. All right, we're done with Aaron Rodgers.
Obligatory daily NFL headlines.
Let's see your rankings for this one, Brett.
Okay.
Jeremy Bergman of NFL.com, he did a What's Your Rank? He ranked NFL teams most likely to end their long playoff droughts in the 2025 season. Of the NFL's 32 franchises, 6 teams have not been to the playoffs in at least 4 years. They are Falcons, Panthers, Bears, Colts, Saints, and Jets. So how would you rank them 1 through 6? Falcons, Panthers, Bears, Colts, Saints, Jets. Which one is going to break through? Saints. Most likely to break through the playoff drought. Jets. Falcons, Panthers, Bears, Colts, Saints, Jets.
So I definitely think Jets, Saints, Colts, Panthers are out. I'm already.
So you're already the Falcons and Bears.
I'm down to the Falcons and the Bears. The Falcons, excuse me.
You Falcons or Falcons guy?
Naturally, I'm a Falcons guy.
Okay.
I think noon to 3,
I'm
I have
Falcons.
to be a Falcons guy.
I'm Falcons.
I probably would go with Atlanta to be the most likely. Now, I wouldn't bet your house on it. I wouldn't bet even $1 on it. But, I mean, the Bears, too, they're good enough probably, but they're in the NFC North. And as you and me both know, that is going to be a meat grinder this year because there's 3 really, really good teams and the Bears who are kind of good and could be more than good. So if I had to pick, I would go Falcons 1, Bears 2, everybody else. Panthers, no chance. Colts, what do they have going on at quarterback? No one knows. Saints now without, that's where I see it.
So he has the Falcons at number 1.
Okay.
He disagrees with you on the Bears. Ooh. He's got the Bears at 5. And I'm guessing the argument is you still have some unproven quarterback play there. You do have a new coach. Now they might step up because of the new coach, but in year 1, they all can't be Kevin O'Connell in year 1, especially when you're kind of rebuilding a team. And I think the competition now, Detroit's kind of leaking a little bit here. They might be showing a little bit of regression with some offensive line departures.
They lost Ben Johnson.
Losing 2 coordinators, not just one. They lost both coordinators on both sides of the ball. So it's going to be a different team. It doesn't mean they can't be a successful team, but that's just going to be a different team there in Detroit. They have the Colts at 2. I'm guessing a lot of that is division related.
That's true.
Jets at 3, which surprises me. I'd put the Bears ahead of the New York Jets myself. Panthers at 4, Bears at 5, Saints at 6. I do think Saints.
The Panthers?
I do think Saints are the obvious 6. Panthers, at the end of the season last year, I felt like they were getting a little bit better, being more competitive in games. It seems like Bryce Young was starting to take a little bit of a step up towards the end of the season. And I guess maybe part of it is that division is not very scary. It's funny, the 3 of the teams with playoff droughts here are all in the same division. Falcons, Panthers.
Yeah, must be nice.
And Saints. So given you're in a division with 2 other teams that have playoff droughts, that makes, I guess, more likely that you would end your playoff drought. So I think the Carolina Panthers might have a shot.
Obligatory daily NFL headlines.
And if they make it, they're getting routed by whoever they played the first round. That's for sure.
Can we go back to your Packers?
Sure, of course.
Your guy, offensive lineman, is it Elgton?
I always say Elton.
G is silent. Elton Jenkins has reported for mandatory minicamp after remaining away from voluntary workouts due to his contract. He's set to move from guard to center in 2025, and because of that, he wants his contract adjusted.
Fair enough.
He's set to earn $11.7 million and $18.5 million in base salary over the next 2 seasons, respectively. So, but the part that I love, though, is while he has reported, Tom Pelissero notes it's unlikely Jenkins will practice this week. That's what they all do now. They all
sit in.
They all do hold-ins.
Yep.
None of them do holds out. I don't understand how you can now just report, but then not participate.
Now, would you rather do it that way, where it's like, hey, want my contract? I'll be here. I'll be in all the meetings, but I'm not going to play. Or you can go the other way and go, I've got an ear infection. I've got bad back. And go down the list. You know what I mean? Like
make up the maladies.
Yeah, exactly. At
TJ,
least he's open about it. He's like,
what was TJ Hawkinson's 2 years ago? Remember in August, and people were reporting it. It was an ear. Oh, that's what you're talking about, the ear infection.
That's what I was getting at. Yeah.
And by the time it was like a 2-week ear infection, guys, he doesn't have an issue here.
And it's funny.
He's waiting for a new contract. The ear healed
magically.
Yeah, magically healed after. That's it for
Obligatory daily NFL headlines.
We're going to talk about all the local teams and everything that's going on in the world of sports next, because we're doing a little big bites, including your Minnesota Twins snapping that losing streak yesterday.
Let your imagination take flight with an AI-powered PC from Lenovo. Whether it's creating digital art, designing new software, or building a portfolio for a future career, our PCs are powered by Intel Core Ultra processors to help students unlock smarter learning and unleash their creativity. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. All you have to do is choose the one that fits your passion. Head to Lenovo.com to shop AI PCs and find your perfect companion. Plus, get 5% off when you create an education account.
You know what's great about your investment account with the big guys? It's actually a time machine. Log in and zoom. Welcome back to 1999. It's time for an upgrade. At Public.com, you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, bonds, options, and more. You could even put your cash to work at an industry-leading 4.1% APY. Leave your clunky, outdated platform behind at Public.com. Go to Public.com and fund your account in 5 minutes or less. Paid for by Public Investing Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Full disclosures at Public.com/disclosures.
You know, some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com, ODOO.com.